The last time Selena kicked me out of the car, I knew it was over between us. Surprisingly, it didn't hurt as much as I thought. I even felt a bit relieved. I went with the arranged marriage my family set up for me and planned to go to Germany with her. On Selena's birthday, our friends joked around, asking what gift I might have gotten her. They figured I'd gift her that piece of land she was eyeing recently. But by the end of the party, I never showed. She had no idea I was really in Germany and really over her. On Friday morning, I got a text from Selena. "Come by the old house tonight at 6, it said. I replied with a simple okay and tossed my phone aside. When it was time, I headed downstairs. Selena's Bentley was parked at the door with the driver standing beside it. As soon as I approached, he opened the front passenger door for me. I nodded and smiled, sliding in. Sure enough, there were Selena and Eric in the back seat, laughing and chatting, as if I wasn't even there. I was happy to keep to myself and closed my eyes to rest. Took Eric a while to notice I was there. With a soft voice, he said, "Dino, sorry, did we disturb you?" In the past, I would have snapped back at him with something like, "If you knew you were disturbing me, then shut up," or "Who do you think you are, talking to me?" But this time, I simply shook my head and calmly said, "No, go on with your conversation." Eric paused, then added, "It's Selena's fault for chatting with me. I didn't see you, Dino. You aren't mad, right?" Acting all playful, Eric stuck out his tongue and clung to Selena's arm. "Selena, say something nice to Dino for me. It's my first time meeting Grandpa, I can't have him mad at me." Selena, sounding almost indulgent, reassured him, "Don't worry, Eric." Then she turned to me with a cold, almost warning look. "Isn't that right, Dino?" It wasn't the first time Selena questioned me over Eric, yet my heart still twinged. How was it possible that I appeared this lousy in her eyes? A bitter laugh escaped me, of course. I'm not bothered. I must have touched a nerve because Selena's demeanor turned frosty. Her eyes narrowed as she called out, "Dino, what do you mean by that?" Sitting up straight, I locked eyes with her through the rearview mirror. I don't care to act that way and I won't. Is that clear enough? As soon as I said that, Selena fell silent. I didn't want to look at her anymore. My gaze flickered past her eyes, throwing me back to those early years. When our families decided to set us up as kids, I was just hitting those teenage years. She was the girl next door who'd grown into a captivating young woman, and those deep, dark eyes of hers had me hooked. Now, though, that captivating allure has faded into a sharp, aloof adult face, glaringly obvious. But now, I genuinely don't want to be a part of her world anymore. In that brief silence, Eric spoke up, breaking it, "It's all my fault for making Dino upset. I heard from Selena that she wanted to take you to the old house, and I felt lonely. That's why I asked her to bring me along. It's all on me." With tears, he fumbled with the seat belt, struggling to unbuckle it, until Selena hugged him close, comforting him for a while. When she finally looked up, her previously affectionate expression had turned icy as she faced me. "We both know the childhood engagement our elders set up doesn't matter. You're nothing to Eric and me." She continued, "I'll say this for the last time. I don't like you. The only person I love is Eric. I know she loves him. It's obvious. Everyone around us knows it." I remembered Selena saying, "If it weren't for Grandpa liking you and wanting to meet you, I wouldn't have brought you along," upsetting Eric. Getting kicked out of the car again was actually a relief. I realized I wasn't as upset as I thought. In fact, I was grateful. I recalled my birthday vividly at that moment. Back then, I was upset with Selena for dating Eric. She tried to cheer me up by booking the entire Peninsula Hotel for my birthday, but she only showed up halfway through the party. My friends, noticing my lack of enthusiasm, joked, "Selena must have a surprise for you. She's saving it for last." I convinced myself that her gift was going to be something thoughtful. But when I opened the box, it was just a set of cufflinks, the complimentary accessory to Eric's ridiculously expensive watch. Before I could even get mad, Selena answered a call next to me. I heard what sounded like Eric on the other end. "Selena, did you forget to lock the door? I think there's a noise in the living room, and I'm alone." He sounded timid, almost like a purring kitten. The hairs on my neck stood up. Selena was charmed by it. She chuckled. I'm at a birthday party for a friend, stop teasing. The conversation was cut short by a yelp followed by a clatter of noises. Selena's smile faded, and she turned to me. Dino, you and your friends keep having fun. I need to check on Eric. Before I could say anything, she disappeared into the crowd. For some reason, I chased after her, but all I caught was the rear view of a speeding car. I sat on the curb alone for what felt like forever, until the rain started falling and the night turned into daylight. My legs went numb as I collapsed, the pain gut-wrenching. I finally get it. Having a crush is like a chaotic war zone for one person. The girl I had a crush on when I was young is slowly fading away in this moment. Dino. I looked up and saw a pair of long legs walking towards me. My gaze moved up to her breathtakingly beautiful face. Way prettier than her photos. A few months ago, my dad asked if I still wanted the arranged marriage with Selena. I said no. She and Eric seemed more serious than any of her previous relationships. I have to admit, I lost. Maybe I was never in the game. To Selena, I was probably just the childhood engagement. But, because her grandpa had once saved my life, he liked me a lot and wanted me as his grandson-in-law. My family doesn't know how to break it to him. Then 3 days ago, my dad showed me a photo and asked what I thought. Yeah, she was incredibly beautiful. Dad laughed and said Julia was nice and told me to get to know her. Back then, I didn't know Julia was the youngest daughter of the Wiltons. I thought you might not show up. After all, the so-called childhood sweetheart I had for years drove me away. And Julia was just an unfamiliar arranged marriage prospect. Dino, you're worth it, don't underestimate yourself, she said. Her eyes were too sincere. If I didn't know we had never met before, I might have thought she liked me. I smiled, opened the car door, and sat down. Right as I was about to fasten my seatbelt, her fragrance hit me. I almost forgot to breathe. Looking at her slender fingers pulling the seatbelt out, my heart suddenly started racing. I didn't know where to look. The car started, and Julia's gentle voice said, Dino, you probably haven't had dinner yet. Would you do me the honor of having dinner together? I usually don't eat with someone I've just met once. But this time I said, sure. After that day, I didn't contact Selena anymore. Eric's TikToks started frequently showing off his relationship with Selena. From just her hand in the frame to half a shoulder, then a side profile. Finally, a video of Selena kissing him, announcing their relationship. That video went viral. Some questioned Selena's identity. Eric directly said in a live stream that she'd appear for her birthday so fans could meet her. He also mentioned how she planned to take him to Iceland to see the Northern Lights. He seemed so happy in love during the live stream. Afterward, some buddies in the circle asked me, Dino, weren't you and Selena set up as kids? Childhood engagement. Yeah, right. I opened the chat box and sent a voice message. Nah, Selena and I are just childhood playmates. But hey, keep it hush. She's already introduced Eric to her parents. They got the hint and we switched topics after. Honestly, I wasn't following Selena's life so closely these days. I just happened to see the trending videos during downtime. I used to wonder how I'd react if she proposed to Eric. But now that I see all this, I'm just reflective. I'm not upset, not in denial, not feeling unbearable. A notification rings. I check my phone and see a message from my arranged marriage partner. I can't help but smile and start typing. Ready when you are. See you tomorrow. The next day, Julia went with me to handle my study abroad paperwork. Walking through campus with her felt like we were a new couple. I talked about school stuff and she'd chime in. When things got funny, we'd laugh together. Hanging out with Julia, I felt relaxed in a way I hadn't in a while. I gotta go back to the dorm and pack. You wanna head back? I regretted saying it right away, but felt awkward to ask her to wait. But Julia just smiled and pinched my cheek. Go ahead, I'll wait downstairs. My heart skipped. I blushed and ran inside. As I took the stairs, I touched the spot she pinched and couldn't help but chuckle. I didn't have much stuff in the dorm, so I was out pretty quick with a bag. Thanks for waiting. Let's go grab some spicy hot pot at the campus back gate. Julia effortlessly took my bag, and once she started walking, I caught up. But then I bumped into Sandy, who was with her boyfriend. I'm kind of familiar with Sandy, she's one of Selena's many friends. She always teased me for trailing Selena like a little housekeeper. She looked me and Julia over, then asked, Dino, who's this? Our engagement wasn't public, so to keep things simple, I feigned shyness and said, she's someone I hired to run errands. It was obvious I was bluffing. Sandy seemed to have a thought. She frowned, speaking seriously. Dino, as long as you figured things out on your own. Pondering over it, Sandy decided to call Selena. She and Selena shared a sister-like bond over 10 years. Though Selena often complained about that childhood betrothal boy, she secretly welcomed Dino's company. Sandy felt Selena did have feelings for Dino, but maybe was just confused now. She stayed clear from it, figuring it wasn't her place till Selena would eventually regret it. But here it was, needing her intervention to avoid a serious mess. Are you busy? You and Dino lately? Before Sandy could finish, Selena cut her off. You've been pretty chill lately. Did that kid Dino get you to play messenger? Selena knows Dino hasn't been in touch recently because he's mad at her, upset that she's all focused on Eric. But this time, Dino did something smart. He's held off bothering her this long. Still, a little boy's gotta do what a little boy's gotta do. Started thinking outside the box. Found himself a go-between. No, it's not like that. I just saw Dino today with some girl. Selena chuckled, dismissively. Come on, do you think I don't know Dino? He's always around me. Some girl? Please, now you're spinning tales for him as a messenger. You have time to play with him, I don't. Tell him if he keeps pulling stuff like this to get my attention, it'll be more than a 2-week cold shoulder. She laughed again. I guess I've spoiled him too much. Anyway, I gotta discuss my birthday party with Eric, so stop calling me about Dino. Sandy scratched her head, feeling frustrated. Why's Selena so hard to talk to today? On Selena's birthday, Julia and I were already on a plane to Germany. I hadn't told anyone about going to study in Germany, and the school folks saw no need to tell Selena. After all, she was all lovey-dovey with Eric, and no one wanted to upset her. That morning, I stepped out in a wool coat. Julia's driver quickly approached to grab my suitcase. Julia sat in the back seat in casual clothes, holding a fancy lunchbox. Seeing me, she smiled. Dino, come in. I brought your favorite breakfast. Her face was delicately pretty, like a cute cat, kinda adorable. I suddenly remembered how Selena used to treat me with this kind of thoughtfulness, but now, I shook my head, stepped into the car, and took the lunchbox without a fuss. Seeing a woman apparently waiting for praise, I smiled. Thanks for the breakfast, Julia. The luxury car raced off into the twilight. In first class, I followed behind Julia, casually looking down at her waist and hips. And wow, why do women have such great figures? And her legs are seriously long. Suddenly, some inappropriate thoughts popped into my head. Lost in thought, I stumbled and fell right into her arms. Meeting her eyes, I felt a bit awkward. Even though both families agreed on our engagement, we barely knew each other. She's cool. Sure. And droops her eyes like a lazy cat, but this is way too cliché, like a TV drama. Someone should cast me in one already. I've spent years chasing after Selena. I don't want Julia thinking I'm some flirt. If everything goes as planned, she and I will spend our lives together. Even if we can't fall in love, I hope we can respect each other. I really want to leave a good impression. So, I quickly got off her and apologized. I'm not normally like this, really? Julia awkwardly cleared her throat. It's a long trip. Do you want to rest a bit? I nodded and sat down, pretending to be busy looking for a blanket. Seriously, who ordered a double bed on a plane? The person next to me chuckled softly. Then I felt her slender fingers as she laid a blanket on me. I couldn't meet her eyes and stammered. Thank you, thanks. To avoid more embarrassment, I shut my eyes, pretending to sleep, woke up for a meal and then crashed again. When I woke up, I found myself leaning against Julia. First thing I saw was her face. Her sharp jawline, high nose bridge, eyes closed. Wow, things are moving fast. Also, my neck feels a bit sore. I reached to brush her delicate eyelids, unintentionally waking her up. Julia opened her eyes and looked at me. I didn't know what to say. I had been so sure of myself, saying I wasn't like that, and bam, caught in the act. Could anything be more awkward? But there was no awkwardness. Julia, still sleepy, just adjusted the blanket, hugged me, and drifted back to sleep. Actually, before the flight, I got a call from Eric. I didn't want to answer, but I did. Dino, you're not coming to Selena's birthday, right? A guy's gotta have some pride, don't you think? She's not interested. Stop being so clingy. Won't you? Eric used to really get me with that kind of talk. Then, with Selena in sight, he'd play it cool, making her dislike me even more. But this time, I recorded the call as I picked up, then chuckled. Who says I'm not coming? Just wait. When the party started, Eric grew anxious. He'd promised fans a live stream for Selena's birthday to introduce her. But then he remembered Dino might come. If Dino brought up their childhood engagement during the live stream, he'd regret it. Honestly, he wished he hadn't called Dino. His plan to make Dino look bad backfired. He bit his lip, looking worried. Selena noticed Eric's unease and softly asked, "What's wrong? Not feeling good?" Eric forced a smile. "Nah, it's just, I told my fans we'd stream during your birthday. Now I'm thinking maybe not." Selena hugged him, comforting. "Yeah, maybe not the best idea, but later I can make a quick appearance in your stream. Come on, cheer up, look at all these people here." Eric looked up at Selena and then dropped his gaze. "Selena, I'm actually scared," he admitted. "If Dino brings up your childhood engagement online, what will I do?" Selena's expression turned serious. She hated when people brought up her and Dino's childhood engagement. But seeing Eric's tearful eyes softened her heart immediately. "All right, I'll take care of it," she reassured. "I promise no one will bring it up online. No one will hurt you." As soon as she said this, Eric visibly brightened. Seeing Eric's face light up with a smile, Selena couldn't help but smile too. She liked Eric for his straightforwardness. No complications, nothing to tire her out. With Selena's promise, Eric's mood lifted. He leaned affectionately into Selena, giving her a sweet kiss. Now he felt braver even if Dino showed up. He knew Selena would side with him. The earlier anxiety faded away. After Eric left, Selena and her girlfriends started chatting. Somehow, someone brought up the topic of Dino. "It's weird. Has anyone seen Dino tonight?" That's when everyone realized they hadn't seen Dino all evening. "No way. Dino isn't here? That's impossible." Dino was always the first to arrive at any event they held. The person next to Selena nudged her playfully and winked. "Have you been flaunting your new boyfriend too much? Maybe Dino's mad at you." Selena shot her a glance. "Watch your mouth. Not even this wine can shut you up." Though she said that, she didn't swallow the wine. Lately, Dino had been acting strangely. Apart from the time he tried to talk through Sandy, he hadn't bothered her at all. But wasn't that exactly what she wanted? She shook her head, finally taking a sip of her wine, chuckling softly. She didn't believe Dino could stay aloof for long. She knew him too well. He'll definitely come with something she really wants, Selena thought, crossing her arms casually and leaning back. "If he arrives, don't let him in right away," she teased. The others knew this was Selena's way of playfully punishing Dino for being late. They playfully speculated about what gift Dino might bring Selena. "Oh, it's got to be that piece of land Selena's been eyeing. He'll definitely gift it to her." Anything Selena hinted she wanted, Dino always found a way to give it to her. But half the party passed, and even at midnight, when it was officially Selena's birthday, Dino still hadn't shown. She frowned, clearly displeased. Sandy noticed Selena's mood and leaned in, whispering cautiously, "Want me to call Dino? Maybe he's stuck in traffic?" Selena didn't answer, but she also didn't say no. Sandy stood up and dialed Dino's number. Meanwhile, on the other side of the globe, Dino and Julia had arrived in a foreign land. As he lay on the mansion bed, comfort finally washed over Dino. Despite sleeping in beds on the plane, he didn't feel at ease until now. Half asleep, Dino awoke to the buzzing of his phone. "Dino, why aren't you here?" He rubbed his aching head, confused. "What?" Sandy covered the receiver, lowering her voice. "It's Selena's birthday today. Hurry up, it's almost time to cut the cake." You and Selena always cut it together. If you don't come, her new boyfriend will. Sandy watched Eric eagerly holding the knife, talking nonstop. Turning over, Dino sighed. I'm not coming. Just pass along my happy birthday wishes to her. Okay? Unbeknownst to him, Selena had already taken over the call, feeling unsettled. Dino, always close to her, had ditched her birthday this time. She wouldn't admit it, but Dino's words got under her skin. Perhaps deep down, she didn't want things to be so distant between them. Dino, don't you think it'd be better to say happy birthday in person? She asked. Hearing Selena's voice, Dino wasn't surprised. Without her consent, Sandy wouldn't have called. If this is all about Eric, you're just wasting your time, he retorted. I bet you're just watching us from somewhere. Cut it out and come on in, Selena joked, unsuccessfully trying to sound casual. Dino chuckled. Think whatever you like. Stop calling me. With that, he hung up. Honestly, in the last few days with Julia, Selena hadn't crossed his mind, not even for a second. After a hot shower, Dino headed downstairs. Julia sat reading on the couch. Seeing him, she put down her book, removing her glasses and rubbing her eyes. You're finally up. The butler booked us a restaurant with great reviews. Nodding, Dino replied, I'll change real quick. Julia grabbed his wrist, imploring playfully. Please? I'm starving. Can we skip changing? You look great just like that. He laughed and gestured her to lead the way. Soon at the restaurant, the atmosphere was indeed perfect. Their first meal abroad was a success. Post-dinner, Julia suggested a walk to build rapport. Strolling down the foreign streets, they chatted aimlessly as the snow began to fall, blanketing the ground in white. The streets grew emptier with fewer and fewer people around. I was walking with Julia, and it felt like we were the only two people in the world at that moment. I suddenly thought it wouldn't be so bad to just keep walking like this. I don't remember who held whose hand first, but by the time our fingers intertwined, we exchanged a smile. She was wearing a black coat, with snowflakes resting on her black hair. When she blinked, her eyelashes lifted the partly melted snow, making her look like a character straight out of a comic book. I brushed the snow off her bangs, and then, unexpectedly, a boy nearby snapped a picture of us. Wow, how romantic, he said. Hold on, let me get another shot. We ended up posing like he suggested, and afterward, he offered to take a picture with our phone. Julia handed her phone over without hesitation. The boy took the pic and handed the phone right back. Afterward, we waved goodbye. I raised an eyebrow and asked, You trust him that much? What if he ran off with your phone? Julia didn't answer, just laughed and pulled me into a hug. Leaning against her chest, listening to her heartbeat, I felt a sudden calm. 5 minutes of romance passed, and Julia pulled out her phone, doing something on it. Moments later, a sleek black car pulled up beside us. I gestured to another 5 cars in the distance and asked, Is this the answer? After returning to the estate, Julia and I cozied up by the fireplace. She grabbed my hand and asked if we should make our relationship official. We had come to Germany, and soon the news of our family's union would be out. Thinking about it, I nodded. Let's use the picture that kid took of us, what do you think? Julia agreed, and I asked her to send me the photo. When I opened my phone, I saw a video someone had sent me, but I ignored it and posted our update with Julia instead. After posting, I casually opened the video. It showed Selena and Eric cutting a cake together. She was laughing gently, saying, Eric, let's do this together. Then Eric handed Selena a gift, a watch. It wasn't extravagant, not really fitting for Selena's status, but she put it on and proudly showed it off, receiving compliments from everyone around. The video ended, leaving me calm. With a slight chuckle, I put my phone away. Julia snuggled closer. Due to the time difference from back home, when our friends saw our post, it was right as the party was winding down. Somehow, our photo ended up in Selena's group chat. As they passed the photo around, someone shouted, Wow, is this really Dino? Another person confirmed, yeah, it's really from Dino's update. No joke. Anyone know who this girl is? She seems to really match with Dino. Selena was in the middle of kissing Eric when she suddenly kicked over a table. Resting her hand on her knee, She asked coldly, "What are you all gossiping about?" The person with the phone quickly pocketed it, saying nothing. Selena noticed Sandy looking guilty and asked her directly. Sandy handed over her phone with the screen still unlocked. Selena immediately caught sight of the picture of Julia and me kissing in a foreign street. She spat out, "Dino, you've got a lot of nerve." Then she let out a derisive laugh. "You're mad at Dino, why take it out on me?" The previously lively room went silent. Everyone quietly left, sensing Selena's ire. She offered no comfort or explanation, and Eric, biting his lip, got up and left, closing the door behind him. Selena spent the night alone in the room, chain smoking, and finally called Sandy. "Is it him?" she asked. Sandy hesitated and then said yes. Selena hung up and eventually learned I was in Germany with Julia. Our arranged marriage was called off after my dad talked it over with her grandfather. The weight of that arrangement, which had burdened her since we were kids, was gone. Yet she couldn't feel happy. She wanted to see me to ask if calling it off was my decision, too. So she came all this way. I hadn't expected Selena to show up. That day, Julia and I were leaving school hand in hand, and she was standing under a tree across the street, looking as pretty as ever in a brown coat and black scarf. She waved, "Dino." I paused, then walked over with Julia. "I heard you were in Germany." "I didn't believe it," she said. "Grandpa said the engagement's off." "How can it be off, Dino?" She took a step forward as if to come closer, but Julia moved in front of me. Peeking around, I said more earnestly than ever, "This is my fiancée, Julia." Selena looked like her whole world had shattered. After a long pause, she pleaded, "Dino, I'll break up with Eric. Don't joke with me." Noticing Julia's uneasiness, I squeezed her finger reassuringly. "I know I've caused you trouble over the years. I mistook my feelings because of the engagement, but now I've found who I truly love. I wish you and Eric happiness," I told her. Then Julia and I walked away. I felt Selena's gaze burning into my back the whole time, but I knew I wouldn't turn back. After Selena came back home, she often drank herself into a stupor late at night. When Eric showed up one time, she shoved him away. "Get lost. Don't touch me. I want to break up with you." She was so out of it she couldn't control her strength, and Eric ended up being pushed down the stairs. His white shirt quickly turned red. At the hospital, the doctor told them that Eric's old injuries flared up due to the fall, causing severe internal bleeding. It was really bad. Eric came out of surgery pale as a ghost. Later, after Eric woke up, Selena still said she wanted to break up. "Eric, don't look for me anymore. Let's end things on good terms." Eric's eyes unexpectedly welled up with tears. He grabbed her wrist and cried, "What did I do wrong? Why don't you want me anymore?" "Nothing." "Then why?" "There's no reason. Eric, I'll give you some money. If you ever need anything, reach out. I'll help." Eric looked up, eyes red like a lost kitten. Selena looked at him and suddenly realized she was never this cold to him before. Unlike with Dino, she couldn't even count how many cold stares she'd given Dino. She still remembered the first time she ditched him for Eric. His eyes, full of tears, looked at her so heartbreakingly, fragile like glass about to shatter. Selena thought she was so fed up back then. But actually, those sad eyes burned into her memory. Until the last time, she left Dino again. His eyes no longer had any of that longing spark for her. That year, when I came back home, I heard from my buddy Alexander about Selena and Eric's situation. Turns out Eric didn't agree to just being dumped. After finally snagging a sugar mama like Selena, he refused to let go, even though she left him with a $5 million check. When Eric couldn't find her, he turned to TikTok to get sympathy. He said that after being pushed down the stairs, he was left disabled for life and that Selena abandoned him. The comments came for her, but he didn't care. He just claimed his body was ruined and he was wronged. Crying for long enough, some people started to feel bad for him. At first, Selena didn't care until negative press was everywhere. That's when she realized she underestimated Eric. Coincidentally, she got a package in the mail. Inside, there were dozens of photos of Eric with different women scattered about. Selena suddenly coughed up blood. She lost Dino for a man like this. She picked up the phone, ordering her assistant to look into Eric. Not long after, Eric's dossier was on her desk. What kind of man was he? Plastic surgery, escort work, bars, gambling, being someone's side piece. She clutched her chest. Too filthy. She took action, spilling Eric's dirt online. The crowd turned on him. Eric got flamed offline. With nowhere left to turn, Selena showed up. And after that, Eric vanished. Rumors later circulated in the circle that Selena had sent Eric north to Myanmar. It was my 3rd year with Julia in Germany. One night, she proposed to me on a foreign street. A rare blue diamond, purchased from an auction just a few days back. It was really valuable. I loved it and said yes. With Julia, I never worry about where she stands, she always has my back. She provided all the security I needed in our relationship, spoiling me like a kid. Julia, why do you love me? I asked as I leaned into her, staring at the stars. Julia smiled softly and kissed me. Dino, you're amazing. My love for you is because you deserve it. Your acceptance is my honor. You see, 3 years abroad and I've finally learned to express myself. Or it was later, when she spilt the beans while drunk, that I found out. Turns out, a girl had fallen for me at first sight. Our first meeting was in high school. She was staggering out of the lab with low blood sugar, and I, on my way to see Selena, crossed paths with her. From a box, I shared the chocolates meant for Selena. And that was it. Rooted in love. Seeing me and Selena together, she just wished us well in her heart. Then, hearing years later that I was the one hurt, she decided, since Selena didn't cherish Dino, she would. So she asked her big brother to come to my place to propose. Julia spent hours fixing herself up in front of the mirror that day. Although we didn't meet, luckily, I sent her a SOS. Next time we met, she called me Dino. And that day, Cupid's golden arrow struck right through the hearts of me and Julia. It was my first time truly falling. Selena's epilogue. When Selena turned 30, Dino and Julia got married. A grand wedding between 2 powerful families. As an old acquaintance, she was invited. She thought she was over it after all these years. But at that moment, she realized she'd never forget. Never could she forget what she had with Dino. Yet she was the one who messed it up. She downed a glass of wine, then quietly slipped away from the wedding. She didn't want to see Dino and Julia exchanging rings. Didn't want to see them kiss. Didn't want to admit she had lost love forever. Looking back to those early years, she and Dino were tied together by what they called a childhood betrothal. Dino, always tagging along with her, secretly made her happy. But how did it all go wrong? She thought maybe because Dino was just too good to her. People always want what they can't have. Things they've never tried seem better. She disliked anything predictable. Being with Dino meant a future she could see all too clearly. Back then, she was on top of her game. With J Corp boosting L Corp, everything was a breeze. Anything she wanted, just a mention would make Dino do whatever it took to get it for her. Land in her name would pop up the next day. If she wanted it and he had it, he'd give it to her. Afraid of being labeled a gold digger, she treated Dino poorly to prove something. When the childhood betrothal fell through, even with Dino's father respecting her grandfather for saving Dino's life. But it wasn't like before. She never saw Dino again after that. Her life ultimately was just hollow.